Okay, we call the meeting of the Bennington School Board to order for September 3rd. First item, I'd like to welcome Jim Harwood, taking over for a while as principal over at Monument School. Thank you. We're going to postpone the tour of the building to later on after the meeting. Next item, citizens' comments. Mr. Bethel.
I'm going to talk over here because I can see you guys better. What I'd like to ask you is, are you going to have a discussion, start having discussions about where we're going with our facilities, expansion if we need it, or putting up a new school, or with the space? You know, I know we want to keep the class sizes to 17 or 18, but if RAC comes in and other things come into our town, are we going to be able to have enough space in our schools, Monument, Morey and VSBA? I know I've talked to some of you and you've talked about it before, but when it's an election year, maybe it's time that we bring this up about the moratorium that's on. You know, in the state, it's been on for years, where they don't give the 10% of what is it?
They used to give us 30.
30.
It used to be 30.
I received from the Vermont School Board Association a document here sent from the governor to Rebecca, the Commissioner of Education, outlining his goals and wishes. And one thing he did mention in here, I guess there's been a little bit pressure taken off that moratorium on building, but the problem is the money now will only go for consolidation, buildings for consolidation, not new construction within districts. Like we wouldn't qualify, but if we went with Pownell, let's say, want to build one school, you know, for both, something like that would work.
But that isn't even realistic for us.
No, no.
I mean, is it?
No, but I'm just saying that it's his goal because, you know, some staggering numbers here. He's saying 20% of the schools in Vermont have between 2 and 9 kids in a classroom, the smaller schools. That's
I find that hard to believe.
There's a lot of small schools in the state.
Yeah, there's.
you know, that's like in the classroom, like 9 and 45 kids a
You
month.
know what that would say to a bigger place like ours where we have 3 in VSB, 3 schools? I mean, where we're, if we want to grow as a community, we have to be able to put kids in our school system. Whether RAC comes in or any other development comes in, we can't, from an economic standpoint, say that we can't house your kids. That's just not realistic. And in Vermont, there's no way you can have a moratorium on building properties. You can't say no. The DRB can't say no to a housing project, basically, because of schools, from what I understand. So if somebody wanted to come in and build 20, 30 more units, either in a RAC type thing in a project or in a housing development, you know, what are we going to do is what I'm saying.
Well, one thing we can ask is Ms. Holcomb's going to be up on the 15th up in Manchester when we have the regional meetings, and we can ask her, can she interpret this as consolidation within districts? I mean, what if Bennington wanted to take 2 buildings, combine them into one, build a new one or something like that?
Or what if we want to build one brand new one?
That was the old interpretation. I don't know.
Was it?
Oh yeah, it was. If you wanted to shut down 3 and build 1 big school, you could get, at the time, it was 50% consolidation money.
Yeah, because you heat, light, electricity, and all the different things that you wouldn't have to do. So it'd be savings for you and the state as well.
And there was, you probably recall, Ken, you were probably on the board, that, you know, when we closed Catamount, we were looking at the expansion of Molly Stark. They were going to give us 50% on those improvements because they considered it a consolidation project.
It's improvements as well as new construction?
It is now or was then?
It was not.
It was then. I mean, I'd just like to know if you guys could ask her that and clarify some of this, because I know Gene, when he was on the board before, pushed the idea of at least talking about it. Paul wasn't here tonight.
Oh, yeah, right.
Paul and I have had the discussion, Jackie and I and George, and I think me and you at one time, Ken. I think you need to get the groundwork in the rules from the state as to what we can do, because you're not going to do it this year, you're not going to do it next year, but eventually you got to start talking about it.
Yeah. Well, like you said, Gene and Paul have been strong advocates for the new construction, especially from Molly Stark, that we need something new. But again, for a district to pay 100% is pretty tough nowadays.
We're going to be fairly well represented at this meeting with the commissioner. We'll find out tonight, right? In fact, I think almost all of us are going. So that ought to be one of the items that we do bring up, which is what, on the 15th?
Yeah, Monday the 15th.
So hopefully we'll have a report back, Mike, at the next meeting.
If you can make your meetings more here, it's easier for me to get to where I'm not driving anymore.
I did mention that to
So,
them.
not that I'll beat you guys up or anything, but if you could, it'd be easier. And I think also, when you get this information, you guys ought to meet with the select board and talk to them about what the further future plans for the town are on development, and see if they know of any future plans, because you guys got to know ahead of time, way ahead of time, you know, how many kids are going to be in a classroom. The DRB should ask that of every development, you know.
We did meet with the selectmen last month. We're going to meet with them again this month. And that's one of the things we asked, that, you know, make sure that we are kept in the loop if some new, you know, not a single-family home, but multi-family dwellings or condo groups are going to be petitioned for, looking for permits, that we would have some type of, not yes or no input, but at least we know ahead of time what's going on.
Yeah.
Jackie?
We did talk at the end of the budget last year that we need to really seriously talk about that this fall as we go into the budget season, because of the numbers we have and how we're going to deal with that. So we do have to talk about our building issues.
Maybe we could resurrect or get more active the building committee, where we could, I'm sure we get 2 or 3, 4 volunteers that'd be willing to start working on that.
And this is, my idea isn't to scare the public, it's just to let the public know that you are ahead of the game and trying to be ahead of the game, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
So are we resurrecting the building?
Building committee,
We'll have to
the
get-
facilities committee.
Facilities. Okay, any other citizen comments? Yes?
I have a question on the technology plan, but I'm not sure if or who is on the committee from the BSD now. Jackie, are you-
Morey.
I didn't make the last meeting they had.
Oh, okay.
I'm
So,
doing teachers
is
negotiations.
it- I noticed that it's on the agenda. Will you be discussing it?
No, it says here, next meeting is September 15th. That's all it is. It just announces when the
It's
meeting's
just
going to
an
be held.
announcement.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I can't make that meeting, do you want me to pass the questions I have through you, or who do you want me to give them to?
You can give it to me, and I'll
Okay.
we'll put it in with the agendas.
Okay. Thank you, because in one statement in regards to the technology plan is the assistive technology plan, because I don't see one, and that is a concern of mine. So I'm throwing it out there to the board that I'm really unsure what direction we're going in with that.
Morey, are you going to be able to make it? Because if not, call me. I'll make it.
Thank you.
When is it?
September 18th.
No, the 15th.
Okay, any other citizens' comments?
Yeah,
Oh.
but don't we have that other meeting?
No
Oh, we won't
presentation.
be
October
there.
15th.
Jackie, do you have a task list at all?
Yeah, I do. Update from Mr. Colkeen on number of students in housing project, as well as documentation supplied to him by Shire's Housing regarding residence unit. That's
I
one.
think he covered it.
That's
I revisited my calculations, and the numbers remain where they are. I received no additional information after last month's meeting from anyone that would have altered anything.
We're going to have a technology update at the October meeting, PLC update in September, personal learning communities, I think. You were supposed to update us on that. School enrollment zone policy to all board members in advance, we didn't get them, to discuss at September meeting. We're supposed to look at the school enrollment policy and then discuss
Oh, you
it.
mean about where kids and brothers and sisters all, right?
Yeah, because we have our own policy, not the supersedes.
We'll put
the
That was,
SVSU.
the policy subcommittee meeting is Monday afternoon at 4 o'clock, and I know in the planning meeting for the policy subcommittee meeting, that policy was discussed that it needed to be added to the agenda, and that it was your policy alone, so.
Okay. But shouldn't we be looking at it and deciding how we want to craft it?
I haven't seen the policy, and they did not have it at the meeting, so I would.
If I got a copy of it anymore?
Yeah, I'm sure that we do when we meet on Monday, but it's only on there for discussion, not for any action, so it will be coming back to you
Okay.
for further crafting.
So we'll extend that to October.
Right.
Lunch delivery and schedule at each of the 3 BSD schools. We want to know how you're delivering lunch and the schedule for it, how you're scheduling it. There was some talk about the 30 minutes and
Eating in classrooms.
eating in classrooms, you know, the time it takes to go down to the lunchroom, pick up your lunch, walk back to your classroom, bring the tray back, all that kind of stuff. And you guys were supposed to report at this meeting.
We have 30-minute recess periods and 30 minutes lunch period. There's an expectation that teachers bring the kids to the lunchroom prior to that, like if it's 12 o'clock, that they start leaving the classroom a few minutes before that to give transition time. There is some difficulty getting kids through the lines because there's 3 or 4 classrooms at a time, so that does take a little bit of time. But it is a 30-minute period. We do have one classroom that is eating in their classroom because of some allergy indications that we don't want to put into a bigger setting and have less control over. Everybody other than that one classroom is eating in the cafeteria.
Monument has a 30-minute lunch, 30-minute recess. There are 3 lunch periods. There are no more than 2 classes in the lunchroom at one time. They go through quickly and it's worked well, Jackie. The only class that has been eating and will probably for another week are the kindergartners, just to make an easy transition and not have that large room, but they are going back to their room.
That's good.
And Molly has 30-minute lunch, 30-minute recess as well. Sometimes recess is before or after, depends on the whole schedule. We have 6 lunches, different lunch periods. Our 5th and 3rd grades are eating in their classrooms to eliminate the amount of kids that would be in there at any one time.
I guess I'm the one that brought this up at the last meeting. My concern is that if children are eating in the room, and we have these new regulations about rubbish removal and what we have to recycle. All food products, except for certain things, have to be recycled, I guess. And the sanitary thing. I mean, the desks are definitely not, you're not Lysoling them after they eat on them. Or before. You know, or before. So that's my concern about children eating in the classrooms and carrying it down the hallway. I know that from working in medical facilities, that's a no-no. They have to be covered. They have, you know, there's all kinds of things that you have to do to ensure that, you know, the food is kept safe. So that's one of my biggest concerns is about, you know, that's why I brought it up, about kids eating in the classroom.
The one classroom that we have that is eating in the classroom, we adults transport it and it's on one of the racks and it's a covered rack. So students are not the ones carrying it from the kitchen to the classroom. So that reduces, not that it's not possible.
No, but if it's covered, it's fine. I mean, I always found that it was fine in most medical facilities as long as it was covered. But I still have the concern about in the classroom, you know. And I understand if you have a child that has severe allergies, there are things you have to do.
I think sometimes, too, Jackie, when you've got, you could have, you know, 8 classrooms in there at once. It's really loud, it's really dry, and it doesn't really lend for a very peaceful lunch time for kids. And that's why we've chosen some of the older grades who also eat faster. They can finish their lunch in the classroom, and then there's some social activities that they can do before they go out for recess. Otherwise, you've got a lot of kids just sitting there for 15 minutes, bored. But I understand what I do understand what you're saying.
You know, I don't know if that'll come up in the future through the food service guidelines or whatever, but I just wanted to express my concerns about it.
A connected item, there are discussions going on related to the recycling issue that is in the early stages, very, very early stages, to address the change in regulations there.
Yeah. And the last task list, a PowerPoint of workforce expectation, the board members are supposed to get the PowerPoint. We talked about it. He's doing, him and Joy have been doing, meeting with all the employees throughout the SVSU, going over workforce expectations. And as a board, we decided at the last meeting it would probably be beneficial if we saw what they were seeing.
And that did not get to you, so
Okay.
I'll put it on the
I
list
mean, whenever it
again.
gets scheduled.
Yeah.
Okay, for October. Is that it, Jackie?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Under finance, treasurer's report, August. Renee has passed this out.
Sorry, Chip, awkward second. Thank you. So in August, we did receive an installment of monies for special ed from the state. We will be getting our first installment of state aid next week. This one? Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. Our next installment, or our first installment of state aid for this fiscal year will be coming next week. Unfortunately, it will be going out just about as quickly as it comes in with our first SVSU full assessment, which I think you have probably in your consent agenda tonight. It's about 1.38 million is what's due to the SU for this month. In doing my reconciliations, I did find a bank error that I did have to carry on the report. You can see that was $3,700 check that actually posted twice, and I've been in touch with the bank, and they posted that back to the account today. So you'll see that as a credit coming back next month. So we're pretty much where we expect to be this time of the year. We're going to be operating on borrowed funds until we get our tax production turnover at the end of November and beginning of December.
Okay, any questions?
I move that we accept Renee's,
You make the motion?
yeah, I make the motion that we accept Renee's report.
Second?
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Okay, unanimous. Thank you. Okay, award the oil bids, Rick.
Yeah, in your packet, you should have had background on the fuel oil bids. The contract was up. We went out to bid. As you see, we have a number of different locations with different size tanks, which have different trucks, facilities can service those. We had a couple, 3 different bids. Looking to award the contracts to Sears and West as proposed in the outline.
I make a motion, we accept the low bids.
No, second it.
Okay. Any discussion on
Are
it?
they the lowest bids?
Excuse me?
Are
Yes.
they the lowest bids?
Yes, they are.
Yes, there,
Yes,
right on there.
on the, yep.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor of awarding the bids? Okay, unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, personnel. Anything under personnel? No?
Under the consent agreement.
Okay, consent
Oh, I
agenda.
do.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Personnel. I noticed that we have several resignations. Contracts are signed at the end of June, and since I'm on the teacher's contract, I know they're signed at the end of June. Do we not have anything we can do to hold people to the contract so that they're not coming in 2 weeks before school starts with a resignation?
We do, we would have to release them to another school in Vermont. The most recent resignations are to another state, so there's nothing that we can do as far as that release. But if they were going to another school district in Vermont, then unless we release them from their contract, the other school couldn't. So in this case of this latest rounds, we don't have that restriction.
So, what good are the contracts?
What's that? rhetorical question or?
Jim, I want to say that what you're seeing, Jackie, is not new.
Oh, I know.
That's been going on for the last 50 years, or as long as back when I was there, first day of school, 2 people walked in, first day of school and said, "We're here to give you our resignation." Both of them were going to Massachusetts. So there wasn't a thing you could do. But it's a little bit better now, because if they do go to another school in Vermont, you can hold them.
We could hold them until we could get their replacement. And I'm not happy about it, but it is.
Oh, I know, but I'm
it
not
is what
either.
happens.
Parents are told who their teacher's gonna be for their student next year, they're prepared for it, and then, the principal gets a resignation a month.
Yeah, we had a resignation
Few weeks.
yesterday. It just.
Bennington School is?
No, SVSU special needs, so, which, difficult, yeah.
Yeah, that's extremely difficult.
Yeah, because it won't be easy to replace on such short notice either. So, this has come up at a number of meetings. I'm trying to think at the SVSU meeting last week. One of the things that we're asked to look at is the turnover rate, I think it was this week, and what is the percentage that we are, and where do we compare to the state and nationally? Are we, because we had total SVSU, I mean, all the school districts and the SVSU itself, all positions, teachers, paras, custodians, office staff, 60 plus new employees at the start of the school year. So, to me, that sounds like a pretty big turnover rate.
Yeah, it sounds big to me.
There are some reasons for it that we're only guessing at, and I really would like to dig a little bit deeper into that and see, why. Are we doing something, or is it?
At the supervisory, we've asked the superintendent and the director of human resource to give us a report on that. You might want to break that down even to each individual board, Jim, so we can hear what's going on.
Well, we'll certainly share that with everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Valid point, though.
That was my thing on personnel. It's just.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I have,
Just wait a second, discussion.
Get a second.
Second.
Okay, now, go ahead.
and I bring this up pretty much every time we have nominations. We have 4 nominations. I think it's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And out of the 5, I think it's either 3 or 4 of them that their criminal checks are pending. I'm not comfortable having them starting working while their background checks are pending.
The first phase of their background check has been done. The online check is done. That's done instantly. What we don't have back is their fingerprint check. I don't know if it's back now, but when this was done, if it's saying on the NOM form that it's not back. But the quick check is always done. But the fingerprint check, the Sheriff's Department was not doing them in their move, and they've just started doing them again this week. So we were up against the Sheriff's Department not doing the fingerprints for a week or so.
Are we still having trouble getting them back from the state? Because when I was on the SVSU board, they were, it was awful.
No, they seem to be coming back pretty quick. The dilemma is the number of late hires and the Sheriff's Department suspending doing fingerprint checks while they were in the process of moving. I hear your point. I don't know what the solution is. I'm confident that just on the quick check and that if they were employed in another school system in another state, I'm confident that they'll have a clear check when the fingerprint check comes back, but I don't know what the solution is other than not having them in the classroom. We're moving as fast as we can on that.
Is it safe to say that is there a time frame, Jim?
It can be 2 to 3 weeks for a fingerprint check to come back.
Used to be 8 to 10.
Yeah, it used to be 8 to 10. I'm seeing 2 to 3 weeks. And like I said, the electronic Corey criminal record background check is instantaneous, really. So.
Yeah, and we never used to have that until a few years ago. I don't know. I think maybe 5 years ago. We didn't have the instant criminal background check, which is directly.
That gives us
the
from March
SVSU
immediately.
kept pushing it. We need to know something. But I agree.
That doesn't make you happy.
No, it doesn't. And unfortunately, that's my law enforcement background. I think the board should be notified as soon as the background checks have been, once they've been processed, the board should be notified.
That everyone, yeah.
That everybody has
Yeah.
been cleared, and if there is an issue with any of the nominations.
Jean, this is an ongoing thing. I mean, we don't just hire at the beginning of school. Sometimes we hire.
And
So do
every nomination, I have brought it up. I brought it up every time for the 3 years I was on the board, and I will bring it up every time we have a nomination
May
for
I
the
ask
3
for-
years I'm on.
I agree with you, but may I ask that we make a statement, some kind of a clarification, saying something like, okay, so tonight we so-called hired these people. 1 month from today, or within the month, at the next meeting, we should then have some type of notification whether the people who were on this agenda were cleared.
If not sooner.
Yeah.
Not so.
Well, I pretty much made a statement that this board
But
should
you
be.
didn't put a time element on it.
Well, I pretty much said as soon as the background checks come in, that this board gets notified.
But for the people who are listening to us, they might want to know, the end of the story. So not just an email to us saying everybody was cleared, but we bring it up also at the next meeting and say everybody was cleared.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
no problem.
well,
Yeah.
it's
At
going
the
on
next-
back-
Yeah,
at
so
the
the public
next-
knows as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Notify the public
Yeah.
that these nominations have been cleared at the next meeting.
That's a
Mary
good
needs
idea.
to email
Good
me
point, though.
these now.
All right,
Is that okay?
call the question.
Okay. That'll just be done, we don't have to vote. Okay, we have a motion on the consent agenda. Anything else on there? Any minutes, warrants?
And just,
Yes.
I think I need to amend the warrants, if I understood Jeff's directions. I passed out a second warrant for the SVSU assessments. I think the warrants went out without those, so I think the consent agenda went out without warrant 2003 on there, for the SVSU in the amount of $1,381,000. So if the motion can be made to
I'll make a motion, we approve them.
Okay,
include.
amend it, you amend the motion.
I'll amend the motion.
Maria, second, amend the second, all right. Yes,
What was the warrant number and amount?
2003, $1,381,191.11.
okay, we've added the amended warrant. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the consent agenda? Okay, unanimous. Okay, education matters. We'll report here from the various principals. And one thing I did remember is that we had asked as a board last time for the numbers of teachers and the number of kids participating in the summer school program.
Okay, that didn't make it.
Yeah, at the end of school numbers, summer school numbers. Go ahead.
We're going in order of the summer year teachers and constant summer school numbers for my sake, of giving it an organization. We have hired 4 classroom teachers to start last week in school. There are 2 new special education teachers. There's a new paraprofessional. That one is mostly because of the 4th section of kindergarten. That's not a loss, somebody left and coming back, it's going to be the 1st section. We are still looking for library and music. We had actually thought we had hired a music teacher 3 different times. Not the same one, but 3 different people. We're all set. By the time we got back to them, I think that, we went too more deep into our screening process, and both of them took jobs between the time I called them and the time I would set them up for an interview. So they're still in the process of filling that. We do have a couple of candidates that look promising, so we're going to schedule that as quickly as we can. The library position is a little bit more difficult. They're somewhat rare. It has been posted on School Spring. There are about a dozen applicants last time I looked, which was yesterday. So we're hoping that we can get that scheduled as quickly as we can also. Our student count right now, as of yesterday, was 277, but we're still taking students in and losing a few students because of moves to different state. We're trying to track down the students who haven't shown up for school, trying to make contact with them. We're registering a few new students moving from one state to us also. So I would imagine when we're all settled out, we'll be between 275 and 280. Best guess.
Jim, what was it last year? Do you remember right off the top of your head?
270, I think it was.
So you're up about 7 or 8.
Right. For summer school, we had 47 students who actually signed up. 7 of those chose not to participate after they had signed up. So we had 40 students who did participate in the program. The average attendance ranged from 36 to 22, depending on family schedules and other camps that they had enrolled in during the year or during the summer. We offered math programming, some science programming, literacy, and then cooperative games because we need to build some community as one of our issues in the building. We operated from 9 to 12, and things went relatively well. Numbers were low. It was a 3-week span, but it was also late trying to recruit those students. So we anticipate next year, hopefully we'll have something more organized earlier with more funding from other places that the program can grow and be stronger. Any questions?
Monument School, 2 new teachers, one being a part-time music teacher, Victoria Benkuski, a graduate of State University in New York at Potsdam. She's our K-5 music teacher and a 3-5 chorus teacher. Filling in as a long-term sub for kindergarten is Catherine Keenan. Catherine is a local person, graduated from Mount Anthony, a graduate of the University of Vermont, and she'll be with us until the end of the maternity leave for kindergarten teacher, should be in November. Our student count at Monument School today was 132 students.
132.
7 classrooms. 3 of those are combination classrooms, if that's of interest to you. One straight K, 1 straight first grade, 1 second grade, a 2-3, a straight 3, and 2 4-5s.
I didn't think you had that many rooms up there.
We do.
Good.
I'm trying to...
We do. Summer program that ran at Monument School, services were delivered in the area of reading, math, and social skills, building community, and computer and arts and crafts. We had 3 teachers from Monument who did the reading, math, and social skills, and then a parent volunteer, Ms. Vickers, supervised the computer and provided arts and crafts time for the children. It was students participating in different groups, either in math, reading, social skills, or the computer arts time. It was a half-day program for 4 weeks. We had 27 students who did sign up, with 17 that participated during that 4-week period. The other thing that I would report to you is our first day went very, very well. We had a group assembly at 9 o'clock. Our superintendent came and was part of our morning when the parents were arriving. The staff was just outstanding in terms of running that program, and really it was a review or an introduction for kindergartners into the social skills program that builds throughout the whole year and the whole life of a student at Monument School. We had an open house that started at 5 o'clock, very well attended, that was followed by a barbecue that was catered by the Abbey Group. We had great food, and it was very well attended. And again, our superintendent was in attendance for our open house barbecue.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Okay, at Molly Stark, we have quite a few new teachers that we've hired for this school year. Allison Hoffman is our library media specialist. Chrissy Burr is a first grade teacher. Catherine Stevenson is a second grade teacher. Andrew Labarge is a third grade teacher. Kristen Lewis is a third grade teacher. We welcome our New England Children's Center program to Molly Stark this year. And Noreen Collins and David Schnitz are both special educators in that NET program. We've hired Kira McClenathan as our homeschool liaison for a .45 position. Yolanda Galbraith is a new secretary for us. She is in the front security area at Molly Stark. And Melissa Willard is a kindergarten parent for 1 year medical leave position. We had a really nice opening as well. This was the first time that parents had participated in the new security measures at Molly. And although we sent a lot of notifications home, you never quite know how parents are going to receive it. And it really went very, very well. Parents are being very respectful of what we're trying to do to keep things safe, meeting children outside after school, and things seem to be very, very calm and running smoothly. We had an open house barbecue on the night of our first day, catered also by the Abbey Group, and our superintendent showed up for that too, and we're appreciative to see him there. Our summer school went very, very well this year. We had 48 students enroll for the 3-week program. It was a half-day program, and different things were offered in sort of centers. Children were rotating through different areas of literacy and math. We did a health and movement course where children learned about digestive system, respiratory, skeletal, heart. Our gym teacher led our teamwork sports class, and our art teacher led the arts and crafts program. It ended with a coordination between the One World Conservation Center that came over and did some science projects with the students. So it was a really good summer program. Attendance ran about 7 to 8 absent each day, and that was due to vacations or whatever. And Molly Stark is currently at 382 students, with some still coming and still going.
What was your total enrollment again?
382.
So your numbers for summer school went up after you sent that letter home?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Very good.
How many classrooms for the 382?
21.
Jim, just a question I didn't go over there. Is the security system all set here in Benno?
The cameras still need to be installed. We understood that would be a longer. The front door with the buzzer, that's working and seems to be
no problems.
well received.
Okay.
Actually had a number of parents comment that they felt better.
Oh, good.
They were pleased that we had done that. We haven't had anyone say that it was a problem.
Jim, how many classrooms are you running at Benno?
15 classrooms plus the Ideals program.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's an inclusive program. Also, those students go to the classroom at different points in time. 15 general ed classrooms.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, anything on special ed? Okay.
I just wanted to ask the principals, our computer programs and everything that we've brought up, Jackie brings it up, I bring it up, other board members, are we online? Are we all right? Do we have any glitches? Are we going okay? Or are we
There's always glitches.
But I mean, let me ask, is it any better this year than it was last year at this particular point?
I think it's better this year personally. I mean, there are always issues that someone can't get on or that something's going slow. When we check into those things, occasionally our problem, occasionally it's like out there in the ether world or whatever you call that iCloud or something or other.
Yeah, I'll probably ask this at every board meeting just to try to stay on top of this thing.
Yeah. So my impression, if you want to take a snapshot of last year today and this year today, that things are working better.
Okay.
I mean, the Chromebooks.
All right.
They're working better at your school too? So when I go there, I can hook up?
I won't guarantee that, Jack.
At your school? I've never been able to hook up there either.
Lyman?
Yeah.
It's interesting because today I was supplied with a laptop and within minutes, Elaine Hewlett from central office had me up and running. And it was through wireless, so.
That's where we had
sounds
problems
better.
last time.
Seems to work.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
of us had problems.
Good.
Special ed, I released Wendy from tonight's meeting, so I do have an item that she wanted to know about the NECC program. You heard Donna mention it earlier. She wanted you to know that the program is up and running and the paraeducators and teachers have all completed their training. I did tour the facility. I think it looks great. Yeah, the training for the program will continue though throughout the school year through the conducted by the NECC staff. So Wendy wanted me to extend an invitation to all of you who would like to see the facility now that's up and running. You can contact Wendy and she will arrange that you can see what we've been talking about all this time. So,
Good.
Okay. Okay. Under policies, none. Under committee boards, just announcements. The food service next meeting is September 18th. The technology meeting is September 15th.
We have a problem with that.
Yeah, we're all going to be at the meeting.
We're all going to be up at the regional.
Manchester
regional meeting.
That's got to change.
Yeah, could you check with
The SVSU, yeah, conflict.
Because we're about the only board that goes there.
Is that, yeah, most of them don't go.
See if we can, see if we can get another date.
Yep.
Okay.
Will you let me know, please, Jim?
Yeah,
Yes.
would you know, Marino.
Call me if you, for some reason, you can't.
And the SVSU's next meeting is August, oh, that's wrong. No, I mean, this is, oh, excuse me. This is the review of the August, last meeting was August 27th.
So what happened?
One of the items that Rick brought up at that last meeting was quite a bit of time was spent on a solar project for the SVSU. Also, another item that I requested and the board approved is the resurrection of the personnel committee, and we're waiting for Ken to call a meeting and appoint members to that. The rest of it was pretty routine, but I would ask the board, if you want to hear more about the solar, I would ask Rick to give a little bit of the highlight of that. It's an interesting project, and we almost had a unanimous vote. We had one person that didn't vote for it. Do you want to give the highlight, Rick, of that for a second or two?
Yeah, it's not much of a highlight. I apologize, the chair wasn't doing well for my back. There's a consortium of supervisory unions across the state that are looking, I guess there's a group of supervisory unions across the state that are looking to form a consortium to purchase solar power from a third-party contractor. There's a number of tax incentives and grants that are going to be running out in 2016 that municipalities, school systems do not have access to, but private investors do. So there's this marriage that's being formed by a number of people across the state. A lot of my counterparts and I as well have become nervous about some of these contracts. They're pretty thick and detailed. And a lot of attorneys have cautioned about entering into them. The best return they're giving us is about 10% on it, which to me isn't much for entering into a 20-year contract when we may save that 10% over efficiency over time. But we appear to have created a large enough mass that a large enough project can be generated where we're looking at somewhere between 20 and 30% reduction in our electric bills. The first step, which was SU board approved, was to join the consortium in order to apply for a state grant under Act 153, joint SU projects, to hire a consultant to research this further. So we're not at any financial risk at this point. We're just looking, kicking the tires, trying to see what information's out there.
Where would they put it, Rick?
It can be anywhere in the state of Vermont as long as it's in the Green Mountain Power grid. You know, it could be theoretically in Northeast Kingdom, and they could net meter us the savings. It hasn't been identified yet.
Okay. You know that the Vets Home also looked at the same possibilities, and almost the same bite was given, 10%. But what they took away was more than they gave. So maybe you could talk to Melissa Jackson and see what...
Yeah, those isolated contracts are not what they're reported to be. This larger project, because it's got enough mass to it,
In the next 2 weeks.
there's enough fruit on the vine for a developer to come up with some real savings that they can get to us. But at the end of the day, we need a consultant to help us get through all that stuff. If we're fortunate to get the grant from the state, you know, the money that, we don't have to expend to get that information.
And how much did you have to spend for the consultant?
We haven't gotten that far yet. We're just trying to get the interest of the SUs to form the consortium. So right now, there's 2 of us. The SVSU approved it last week. I just tracked the time. Wyndham, South, East, Brattleboro approved it a few weeks ago. So we know there's 2 of us. So 2 of us is enough to apply for it. We know there's at least 5 other SUs that maybe have agreed to it that I'm not aware of yet. They don't want to get into the conversation.
Thank you. Any questions at all, Rick?
No.
Okay, under Chair's report, just I've been saying this, on the 15th of September, we're going to have a meeting up in Manchester Elementary School starting at 5 o'clock. Rebecca Holcomb, the new commissioner, will be there to ask questions, give us a little presentation. You have to go online, www.vtvsba.org, and just sign up. They want to provide a small meal for everybody, and they need to have a number.
You can go to Mary Lee. She sent out
She sent the email out.
Oh,
I registered before she sent it out.
Yes, no.
Okay, she'll also register you for the Lake Morey annual conference as well. Okay, we have an open house on Division Street.
Do we have information on the Lake Morey? Because I don't have that information.
I didn't get it yet
It's October 29th through the 31st, but it's, you didn't get that, you didn't get an email from Mary Lee on that?
No.
We didn't get the packet either.
No, I don't think Mary Lee sent anything out on this.
We might not have it yet.
No,
then
no,
that
we
would-
haven't got it yet.
VSBA
Other than the
has-
reserve
All I need
dates.
is a save the date.
Yeah.
30th,
The dates
31st
are
for
on
school
your
board
agenda.
members.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, the Division Street open house is going to be on, I guess, Monday, the 8th at 4:30. Everybody's welcome to take a tour of the new building on Division Street. It's been refurbished, so be something to see what's going on there. I also received this today from the Vermont School Board Association. It's a 5-page letter from the governor to Ms. Holcomb, setting out his goals and wishes, sort of having her focus on different thing, and there's a lot of things that, some things stand out quite a bit. It says between 97 and 14, those years, K-12 number of students in Vermont dropped from 103,000 to 79,600, which is over 23,000 kids have disappeared in the state of Vermont. But because despite this decline, we employ more teachers and paras than ever before. Our student ratio, students to staff, now that's not teachers, that's staff, paras, and everybody else, is 4.6 to 1. If we increased it to 5 to 1, he's saying here we could save $74 million. Number of students identified with disabilities has remained constant, even though we've lost those 23,000. This number of kids with special needs is still the same. That's a big number there to hold, because those are very expensive items. Just a couple other things here, just to be patient for a second. Our level of school leadership turnover is too high. He's mentioning principals and superintendents. I mean, they're losing 30 to 40% every year. We get new principals, we get new superintendents, and something has to be done about that, you know, because there's a lot of moving from one district. And some things that he's looking for, he wants, and this is for, I want you to work, and this is to Rebecca, I want you to work close partnership with the VSBA to aid local boards as they address challenges, especially at the fall meeting. So he's telling her to make sure that, you know, when you come to these meetings, be prepared to give a good give and take with the local school boards. He says here, school business managers need to master the details, everything from complex tax rates, federal funding requirements, to the fine print of the Affordable Care Act. Many districts report they have trouble finding qualified business managers. Again, we're kind of lucky here. And again, he's asking her to work with supervisory unions and district to develop better systems for professional supervision and evaluation in each school, so every teacher in every school gets frequent, high-quality feedback that they can use to become a more effective teacher. So he's pushing that as well, better evaluation systems. And what I've done here is I've asked the, one more thing here. This is about the aid. Title 16, 630, now old debt from school construction is paid down. We have an opportunity to assist districts that may benefit from consolidation with their neighbors. You use the word neighbors, but again, that's something we can ask her when we go up there on the 15th, if it'd be possible within districts. And I asked Jim if he would, once this is received at central office, they would send a copy to all the administrators and the school board members too.
I'd like to get one.
So you can see what's going on there.
You said he, do you mean she?
She, I'm sorry.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Rebecca, yes, I'm sorry. Okay, that's it for me. Now, Superintendent.
One good thing about the superintendent going towards the end is so much of what I was going to say has already been addressed, so thank you. I will talk a little first. Let me welcome Jim Harwood, and I want to thank him for stepping in out of retirement to help us out in a time of need. It's difficult. The opening of school is difficult to begin with. Never mind when you haven't done it for a little while, and I did witness him in his first day, and you'd be hard-pressed to tell that he hadn't been there all along, so thank you. Donna Cawley is on a medical leave. She's doing well. She is home, but we anticipate that it's still several more weeks before she will return. But there is a positive there. Opening day at the SVSU was on Tuesday of last week, and I just want to touch on that a little bit. Our theme for the year is creating a climate of possibilities. We're trying to focus on the positive, and I think we succeeded on Tuesday a little. That had an opening morning anyways at the SVSU that had a positive, upbeat message, and then we featured presentations and highlights of the activities that many of our students are doing in their schools, everything from a little snippet of the high school play to singing from our elementary school to Girls on the Run, and I don't know what, most of the schools were featured. We didn't get to all of them, and when we get to our October Professional Development Day, we are going to open that morning in unison with all groups before they break off. And we're going to highlight Bennington Elementary and Pownell, which are the two schools that we didn't get to on opening day. So that will be part of that. I did, as you said, I did go to the open houses. whether you know or not, my teaching background, my 19 years of teaching was all in middle school and high school. So, and no one superintendent is going to have experience at all grade levels. So one of the goals, personal goals that I've set for myself this year is to spend as much time as I can in the elementary schools so that I can be schooled in how elementary schools operate. And I've been in all three of yours so far, and I will be back. Though I was told by one of the principals here to make no promises that I can't deliver on. So I shouldn't say that I'm going to be there every week or every other week. I'm not going to name who that principal was, but he said, Jim, I got some advice for you. Don't make any promises you can't keep. So thank you. I will heed that advice, so I'm not making any promises otherwise on that. But I have enjoyed what I've seen so far. And I thought the parent participation was great for my son. Sorry that I missed your open house. I guess it was not Thursday night because I rode by to make sure, but I heard it was the night before on Wednesday.
It was not a barbecue. It was a meet and greet. A
meet and greet. All right. Well, I would have attended. I just missed that. You mentioned in the letter evaluations. We are part of a pilot program with the state this year on the new evaluation process and tools. So we're creating a team. We'll be looking for a couple of principal volunteers and some teacher leaders who want to take it. It is pretty intensive training. It's 3 days in October. It goes, and then 1 day a month all through January following, I forget what the date is, in the later spring. It's pretty intensive training, but I think it's important. It's an important step because if we want to give, it's all about not a gotcha evaluation, but as giving positive feedback for making correction and change. And we can't just say we're going to do that. We need to train people on how we do that. And if we're going to want to improve, then evaluation is an important part of that.
Who's doing the training?
It's a university, I forget who Vermont is contracted with. I want to say it's out of the University of Wisconsin, but I'm not sure. I've been reading so many different documents lately. I'm not. But once we actually identify the team and do that, we'll get back on more information on that. Which brings me to our AYP results. We've posted them on the website. It's no secret that there isn't a school in Vermont that made AYP, and no school in our district did either, including a couple for the first time because of if there's one student in any subgroup, that's changed. 2014, everyone in education knew that this year was coming and that not making AYP was a reality. I am, again, telling you we're going to focus on the positive and move forward. The test results that are posted, that test no longer exists. The SBAC test is coming in spring, hasn't been completely designed yet. We don't even know who the vendor is yet, but we are sending people for training on that. And it's going to, as you know, very different because it's an all online assessment. So that positive move forward approach is one thing I do want to report to you. We did, the supervisory union at their board meeting last week approved the hiring of a position that has been vacant for a couple of years, the Director of Curriculum Instruction and Assessment. And we hired from within a teacher in the system, Laura Boudreau, who will be spearheading that for us. She will be at your meeting next month, and along with your principals, whether I believe she has contacted you, right? That she is going to do a presentation with the principals on what our plan is, the design for addressing the needs that are identified in our corrective action plans and on AYP. So that will be on, you'll meet her next week, and I mean, next month. And
I have a question on that. It just popped in. Is she familiar with, what are you doing? Green Mountain?
Green Mountain Star, yes.
And Swift?
And Swift, yep. We've been, and I have become acquainted with it. I've gone through some initial Swift training meetings, and today we met with a representative from Vermont Agency of Education, all on Green Mountain Star and So, yes, she is very,
I was just
yeah.
curious.
I have a
Because
question.
Swift and Green Mountain Star are really
They're
linked.
very similar.
Yeah.
I have a question. The aspect test that the students will be given in the spring, do they correlate with the Common Core?
Yes. Well, I haven't seen the test yet, but I am assured that it is, and that, yes. And the students, I mean, you know, the students do take, they'll take the MAP test 3 times a year. That is also associated with, designed around the Common Core. So, and that's going to happen this month, next week, which gives us our benchmark initial assessment, which is crucial. And I'm told that the SBAC test is going to be designed very similar to how the MAP testing works, which means the test is interactive. When a student is taking the test, and so it's establishing a base level, and you take that question and you get it right, well then the next question is going to be more difficult, and the next one more difficult. And if you get that wrong, then it's going to drop down again a level, and that's my understanding of how the SBAC is being designed as well. So.
And are they going to take the NAEP test too, the 4th and 8th graders?
Yes. Yeah.
I have a quick question. On the MAP testing, you said it's next week. When do we get the results on that?
Immediate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, my question is for the principals of the larger schools. I know how Monument does it. How do we focus on the kids that aren't at level?
Because just remember on that MAP test, we don't necessarily share those results publicly. They're really used for assessment and placement of the student as a tool for the teachers and principals. So it's.
Yeah, I know that, but
Yeah.
I mean, I was wondering if they have solid plans on how they're going to help the students that aren't making progress. I know they're not going to come and tell me.
It's more of a sorting test, isn't it? Saying,
Yes.
okay, these kids could be in this group and these kids could be in that group. Am I correct?
I have my assumption of how they handle it, but since we have them here, I don't know if anyone wants to.
We'll be taking those results and discussing them in team meetings, grade level team meetings, to try to strategize how we'll use title people, or what we formerly called title people, which we're now calling partner teachers. We were actually scolded that we should not be calling people title teachers by the title audit that we had last year. And special education teachers to strategize and build some sort of change in instruction over like a 6-week period or 5-week period, and then do internal testing to see whether any progress has been made for those weak areas.
At Monument, there is a built-in collaborative time for and they cluster teachers K1 to 3, and they'll take that data during that collaborative time that happens each week, and it will drive some of the groupings and that instruction and needs that children have.
You have to say it's exactly the same way.
So it's more like, so it does follow the personal learning community's plan, basically.
I haven't seen the instructions on that, but my
From what I learned,
it would be something along that line. So my guess is yes.
The beauty of it is an age-old thing that used to be, once a bluebird, always a bluebird. In other words, you got tested one year and you were always in that group.
Yeah.
And so this allows children to progress at their own rate.
And I'll end with this thought on, I don't, because it's only my second meeting, I don't know how much has been presented to this board, how much information is presented on SWIFT. But if it hasn't been, it's going to start next month, because you could see some, if we fully embrace this and it could alter how we deliver instruction. And we need to make you and all the other stakeholders aware of that as it goes on. The multi-tiered, what's the other, MTTS thing? Multi-tiered systems of support, thank you. As I study it, I see, I think it really could be a game changer for us. but it has to be embraced by all parties to be successful, and tied to the evaluation piece, and tied to a potential significant change in how special ed is delivered.
We did have 2 presentations on that last year, and we had a presentation on Green Mountain Star because that's what Monument's using, and I was pretty excited. Like you said, but everybody has to embrace it.
What changed from the state's perspective this year is they've actually hired some, I don't know what Rebecca Poe's title is, but
Secretary.
no, a different Rebecca. They've hired facilitators for SWIFT, so we've been assigned somebody who's now meeting with our staff to implement this, where it really was rolled out in theory last year, but the best I could tell, very little action other than presentations, and but that is changing rapidly. So we'll keep you informed on that.
Change this year.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
I have a couple questions.
Yes.
I have an item, Joe.
Okay, under other, anybody? Okay,
No,
Jackie?
so the superintendent.
All right.
Well, yeah, we can go to other. In the news today, it was mentioned that there was, I read it very briefly, but it had to do with free lunches for all students in several of the schools in the district, and for some reason in the SVSU, our schools didn't get in on it. And Molly and Bennell would have been the 2 schools that got
That everybody in the school would have qualified for free lunch,
Yeah.
regardless of eligibility based on the percentage. I received an email about that as I was coming into the meeting tonight, so I don't have anything more than
No, I was
that
just
to tell
wondering
you.
what happened, because
Yeah.
did we drop the ball, or did you guys just never get notified?
I don't.
I didn't know anything about it until I read the paper this morning, so I was surprised by it.
Yeah,
So
that's
I don't
good.
know whether
Yeah.
you didn't get the...
I don't know if we didn't apply, but based on the email I got this afternoon, I will look into that tomorrow.
I got a notice from the Ivy Group, and I put it in my letter to parents at the beginning of the year that was the case. I just got an email from, I think it was Maureen, the Ivy Group, not sure.
Carrie's got
I think what you may be talking about is a piece that was in today's paper.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was, it had something to do with a group that's trying to start up to get all schools in Vermont to collect money or get it from the state or however it goes. I don't remember, I just browsed through here. But it was to have the state or another to pay for all lunches, so all students got free lunches everywhere throughout the whole state. We had nothing to do like if we have your food or applying.
Jackie, if you put that on the tax list, I will.
But it did say that Bennell and Molly, none of the schools in the SVSU did apply.
None of them did apply. That's what it said. Okay.
That's different than, there is free lunch for kindergartners and free lunch for all kids for...
No, what this
is
said
for
is
all
that
kids in
based on your
school.
percentage, everybody in the school would have qualified regardless
So
of
there
income.
would be no singling out,
Right.
free and reduced.
You're going to look at it, Jim.
Yeah, I will see if we can get you an answer
It's
back
in your
on how
paper.
that happened.
He can tell you what it says.
Yeah.
Yep. He can tell us.
Can I?
One here.
Derek wrote it.
Okay. What that piece was is a USDA program that was being offered to schools in Vermont that 40% of their student population was eligible for free and reduced lunch, and effectively they'd receive federal money to allow all students within the school to receive free lunch. As she mentioned, Molly Stark and Bennell, the Vermont Agency of Education had a list of schools that qualified. There were 50 throughout the state that met that criteria, and 23, I believe, ended up applying for and becoming part of this program. So that's what that was. I first learned about it when pointed to it by Hunger Free Vermont. I had never heard of it discussed at school board meetings or anything like that. But apparently 5 schools in the SU were on the list of eligible schools.
Thank you.
Is it too late to
I don't know.
Yeah, it would be done by the 31st. According to his article.
I just wanted to bring up an item at the end of the meeting. I'm sure that everybody has been reading in the national newspapers about the time that school starts, and are we starting school too early? And I know that we have a coordinated transportation system, but if they're looking at this thing nationally, then where are we, meaning the Southwest Vermont Supervisory Union, are we starting our schools, are we picking up our students too early in the morning? And is this in fact obviously having an effect on what's going on in the classroom and learning? Because all of the, if you've been reading the articles in the New York Times and other national magazines, the pitch seems to be start a little bit later and go a little bit longer. I'm sure you've all heard about this. So my question is, where are we in this process?
Well, it was a recommendation from the American Council of Pediatrics, and they were referring specifically to high school start times.
Yes.
That they're too early. This is nothing new. It's been bantered about for
60
as
years.
you know, a long time. So when you say where are we on this, you mean have we as a district studied different start times? Not recently that I know of. I do see some complications if we look at something like that. I mean, the obvious is after-school jobs and high school sports and all activities impacted. And that's kind of where it always dies. And do you need to put lights into your practice fields? And
You have them already?
yeah, well, not in all of them.
It's also transportation.
It's transportation. And then there's, teenagers. So the issue is not enough sleep. It's really not the start time of school. It's not enough sleep. And what time are you going to bed? So if we say school is now going to start at 8:30 rather than 7:30, will the human creep factor go into it that then now instead of going to bed at 11:30, I'm going to bed at 12:30. So I've seen studies that suggest both ways. So it's not new. It's certainly interesting, and if it's the wish of the board that we study it more,
I merely bring it up as an interesting factor, and I leave it up to the administration to do as it sees fit.
Every school I've been on nixed it because of the sports.
Yeah.
So if you could get sports to happen in the morning, wake up kids.
I mean,
That was the reason why we.
at the high school, we have a significant amount of early release days for sports, and if everyone in our region did it, then maybe it would work. If we did it in isolation, our early release times would be every day a team played almost. So, yeah.
One more question. Their after-school programs. I know we don't have the 21st Century Grant, do we?
No,
so
we do
what are
not.
we doing? Are we doing anything?
We have a committee that's formed at Molly just recently, and people are interested in doing it, but we discussed it a little bit at the faculty meeting today, and we've discussed it with some other teachers. Our feeling is we would have to charge full amounts.
Yeah, we don't have any money.
And we saw what happened in the summer. We got very few people who registered for summer camp when we were charging. So they're looking at, I know that some of the teachers are looking at some grants. They're talking about whether they would volunteer to run after school clubs, but it's not happening right now.
We have almost $18,000 in a special account, Stratton, Monroe Estate, and the Edith Dewey Memorial. Can we use that?
We can repurpose the Stratton and Raleigh that Dewey is dedicated for scholarships.
So we have $13,000, $13,446.
They won't last long at 30 something, how much is it, 30, what did this teacher get paid?
$32.50.
Yeah,
And you'd have to split it between 3 schools.
yeah.
That would last a week and a half.
Maybe it could be a vacation type of commitment, you know, during Christmas time, when kids go nuts.
I know that parents, a lot of parents depended on it.
Great program, it was wonderful.
Especially
But
if they work with
they are going to apply for it this year, though.
Yes.
I was told, yeah, reapply.
And for the summer grant too?
Yeah.
It was all the
That was part of the
21st
summer.
century grant,
Yeah, whole
but
mosaic system.
we are applying again, but it's
No
very
guarantee.
competitive,
Right.
and it was designed to be seed money that you eventually fund yourself. So,
Yeah, that's what
you
it
know,
was.
in our grant application, that could be held against us. So I just caution you, it shows that we're applying. I was involved last year with through the Career Development Center because we ran some of the Mosaic programs, and I was going to the the 21st Century grant application process with Bob Marine, and I mean, we had a high degree of confidence, but yeah.
So it's a matter of, the grant is used to establish a program and not to have it ongoing?
Not to continuously fund it, right? It was seed money.
It was a 5-year original.
The fact that we had gotten it extended once was unusual, so it would
And we
going
had
to
a
be highly
grant before that fed into the 21st Century grant, because I was on the board that oversaw that.
It was a 5-year grant that we received,
Yeah.
Mr. Murray.
which is unusual.
Perhaps we could get an arts grant
I think
through the Vermont Council of the Arts?
Donna says the teachers are looking at the various grants out there.
The other discussion is possibly partnering with somebody else who becomes the fiscal agent, because then it'll be a new grant for them,
Like the VAE?
possibly. I don't know if they're eligible for that grant. We're thinking of another school.
No, but they're eligible for a lot of
Yeah.
cultural grants.
Okay, any others, any board members?
No, I won't ask any more questions.
That's all right, no, that's all right. Okay, we have a task list review,
I got it.
all right?
Mary Lee will email the tax list copy to me tomorrow. We will ask the Secretary of Ed at regional meeting if consolidation of one district rules on buildings report, and we'll report at the next meeting. The Resurrect Facility Committee, we need to talk about that. Need to schedule PowerPoint of workforce expectations for board. Jim will do that he will schedule it. Doesn't mean it's gonna happen before October 1st.
No, but that could be emailed to you before. We
Yeah.
have that, so that could be emailed to you.
Personal Learning Communities update, that'll happen at the next meeting. Technology update, Chromebooks, use and training, Frank Barnes at the next meeting. Board will be notified of personal record checks if they are cleared, as soon as they come in, and we will notify the public of the findings at the next meeting. And we need to find out more information on free lunch for all students, USDA programs, Hungry Vermonter at the next meeting.
Thank you. Okay, we need a motion to have an executive session for a student matter.
Are we gonna go look at the building before we go into executive session?
Why don't we do that?
Your choice. We'll take the tour first.
Well, that would make it easier for the people that don't want to hang around.
Where do you hold your executive?
Should we go
Next
look up?
door.
Okay.
Can we take a 2-minute break? I need to make a call.
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
Okay, we have a motion, we'll be going to executive session.
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session.
Second?
after your tour.
After the
After the
tour,
tour.
yes.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Okay, unanimous.